Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Official History of Coins USA 3 Coins History and Story. Today we're taking a closer look at a coin that most people would never think twice about. Let's get started. The 1977 USA half-dollar Liberty coin. It's the kind of coin you might find sitting at the bottom of an old kitchen drawer, mixed in with rusty keys, faded receipts, and ordinary pocket change. Most examples look dull, scratched up, dirty around the edges, and heavily worn from years of circulation. Some even have dark stains or faded color that make them seem completely worthless at first glance. But that's exactly why this coin keeps surprising people. Hidden behind that rough appearance, there are certain 1977 half-dollars that collectors actively search for, and depending on condition, striking quality, and rare features, some of these coins have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars. What looks like an ignored 50-cent piece could actually hold real value. The 1977 half-dollar was part of the long-running series honoring President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination in 1963. By 1977, these coins were already familiar to Americans, but they were slowly disappearing from everyday use because people had started saving them instead of spending them. The United States Mint produced these coins mainly in Philadelphia and Denver, and while millions were made, not all of them survived in collectible condition. Most people used them heavily, tossed them into jars, or forgot about them completely. Over time, many became scratched, nicked, and faded, which is why finding a strong example today can be surprisingly difficult. That's where collectors begin paying attention, because even common coins can become valuable when the condition stands out or when unusual minting details appear on the surface. If you happen to own a 1977 half-dollar, the first thing you should check is the date and mint mark. The date will appear on the front of the coin beneath Kennedy's portrait, while the mint mark is usually located near the neck area above the date. You may find no mint mark at all, which means it came from Philadelphia, or you could see a small D for Denver. Then start looking carefully at the details. Examine the hair above Kennedy's ear, the sharpness of the lettering, and the eagle design on the reverse side. Coins with stronger details and fewer marks are naturally more desirable. But here's something many beginners don't realize: even ugly coins can still be valuable. Some heavily worn examples have rare strike characteristics or unusual errors that make collectors willing to pay far more than face value. One reason this coin gets attention today is because certain 1977 half-dollars were struck with unusually sharp details and attractive luster, even after decades of storage. Professional grading services sometimes rate these coins at very high mint state levels, and once a coin reaches that level, the prices can rise quickly. A regular circulated example may only bring a small premium, but a sharply preserved coin with brilliant surfaces could sell for around $850 without much difficulty. Better examples with cleaner fields and stronger eye appeal have reached prices closer to $1,300 at auction. That kind of money for a coin many people ignore completely is exactly what keeps collectors searching through old collections and coin jars every single day. Another thing that makes the 1977 half-dollar interesting is the possibility of mint errors. During the minting process, small mistakes occasionally happened, creating coins with doubled lettering, off-center strikes, weak impressions, or unusual surface characteristics. Most people never notice these details because they assume damaged coins are just damaged coins. But experienced collectors know that mint errors can transform an ordinary-looking half-dollar into something far more valuable. There have been examples with noticeable striking issues that sold for around $2,100 because collectors recognize them as genuine mint mistakes rather than post-mint damage. This is why careful inspection matters so much. A coin that looks ugly to one person may look extremely rare to another. The condition of the coin also plays a huge role in determining its value. A heavily circulated 1977 half-dollar with deep scratches and worn surfaces may still attract interest if the important details remain visible. But if you come across one with unusually clean edges, strong lettering, and minimal wear, that's where things start getting exciting. Some collectors pay premium prices for coins that appear almost untouched despite their age. High-grade examples certified by professional grading companies have reportedly sold for around $3,400, especially when the surfaces still carry original mint shine. These prices sound unbelievable to many people because the coin itself feels so ordinary, but that's exactly how hidden value works in the coin world. One of the biggest mistakes people make after discovering an old coin is trying to clean it. They think polishing the surface will make it more valuable, but in reality, cleaning almost always lowers collector interest. Even if the coin looks dirty or dark, that natural appearance is part of its history. Harsh cleaning can leave scratches and destroy the original texture that collectors want to see. So if you own a 1977 half-dollar, avoid using chemicals, brushes, or polishing cloths. Just hold it carefully by the edges and store it safely. Believe it or not, some untouched examples with original surfaces have reached values of $4,700 or more when the condition and rarity lined up perfectly. That's real value hiding inside a coin many people once ignored as simple pocket change. So the next time you find an old $50 sitting forgotten in a drawer or buried inside a jar of random coins, don't dismiss it too quickly. The 1977 USA $50 Liberty coin may look worn, scratched, faded, and completely ordinary, but appearances can be deceiving. Hidden behind those rough surfaces could be a coin collectors are actively searching for right now. Take your time checking the date, the mint mark, the details, and any unusual features because even ugly coins can still be valuable. Some may only be worth a little extra, while others have reached prices from $850 to $1,300, then $2,100, $3,400, and even over $4,700 depending on condition and rarity. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy discovering hidden value in everyday coins, stay tuned because you never know what treasure might already be sitting in your own pocket. Next coin, the 1985 PUSA $50 is one of those coins that almost nobody notices anymore because most surviving examples look rough, tired, and heavily worn from years of neglect. The surfaces are often dull instead of shiny, the edges may show small dents from circulation, and the front portrait can appear flat and lifeless after decades of handling. Many people see scratches across Kennedy's face, faded lettering, or dark discoloration around the rims and immediately assume the coin is worthless. That reaction is understandable because the coin does not look rare at first glance. In fact, it resembles the kind of forgotten pocket change people throw into jars without even checking the date. But collectors know something important that casual observers usually miss. A damaged-looking coin is not always a worthless coin, and the 1985 $50 has slowly gained attention because certain examples carry surprisingly strong value. One reason this coin gets overlooked is because $50 were already disappearing from everyday circulation during the 1980s. Even though millions were produced by the United States Mint, the average American rarely used them in daily transactions. Most people stored them away, spent them carelessly, or ignored them entirely. As time passed, many examples became scratched, stained, or poorly preserved, making high-quality survivors much harder to find than people expect. Collectors often search through old bank rolls, inherited collections, and forgotten containers hoping to discover a well-preserved 1985 example hiding among ordinary coins. What makes the situation interesting is that even circulated pieces can still attract collector demand, especially when the details remain strong and the surfaces have not been altered or cleaned. The P mint mark on this coin stands for Philadelphia, one of the most important minting facilities in American coin history. To identify the coin correctly, viewers should first examine the front side beneath Kennedy's portrait and look for the 1985 date. Then carefully inspect the small mint mark located near the lower part of the portrait area. Some people completely overlook this detail because the mark is small and easy to miss on worn examples. The reverse side features the presidential seal design with the eagle spreading its wings, holding arrows and an olive branch. Even on circulated coins, collectors pay close attention to the sharpness of the eagle feathers, the lettering around the rim, and the condition of the fields surrounding the design. Tiny visible differences can dramatically affect value. What surprises many people is how much condition matters with this particular $50. A coin that appears only slightly cleaner, brighter, or sharper than average can jump in value very quickly. Most heavily circulated examples trade for modest premiums, but once a coin retains stronger mint detail and fewer marks, collector interest increases immediately. Some certified examples in attractive condition have sold for around $920, especially when the surfaces still show traces of original mint luster. Coins with fewer distractions and better eye appeal can climb even higher. The reason collectors pay these amounts is simple. Truly nice examples are far less common than most people realize, especially after decades of poor storage and mishandling. Another factor that keeps demand alive is the possibility of unusual striking quality or mint-related imperfections. During production, coins were struck rapidly, and not every example came out perfectly identical. Some 1985 $50 display stronger strikes, while others may show subtle doubling effects, off-center impressions, or die-related anomalies that make collectors pay closer attention. Most people never notice these details because they focus only on obvious wear or discoloration. But experienced collectors often examine the coin under magnification, searching for anything unusual in the lettering, Kennedy's profile, or the reverse design. Certain examples with more desirable characteristics have reached values near $1,650, and sometimes even $2,750 depending on rarity and preservation. There's also a psychological reason why this coin continues to attract interest. Half dollars feel different from ordinary coins because they are larger, heavier, and far less common in circulation today. That alone creates curiosity among collectors and casual finders alike. When someone discovers a 1985p half dollar in an old drawer or inherited collection, it immediately stands out from pennies, nickels, and quarters. Over the years, this growing curiosity has strengthened collector demand, particularly for coins graded at high mint state levels. Some premium examples with exceptional surfaces and minimal flaws have reportedly sold for around $3,850 at major auctions. Those prices may sound unbelievable for a coin many people ignore, but rarity in top condition changes everything in the coin market. One important warning every collector should remember is never to clean the coin. This mistake destroys value more often than people realize. A clean coin may appear brighter to the naked eye, but collectors can usually recognize unnatural polishing, hairline scratches, or damaged surfaces almost immediately. The original texture and aging on the coin are considered part of its authenticity. Even dark tunning or dull surfaces can be preferable to harsh cleaning. If you think your 1985p half dollar might be valuable, handle it carefully by the edges and store it safely instead of trying to improve its appearance. Some untouched high-grade examples have reached values above $4,900 depending on condition, certification, and collector demand. That kind of strong value is exactly why preserving the coin properly matters so much. The most important thing to remember about the 1985p USA half dollar is that appearances can be misleading. A coin that looks worn, scratched, faded, and ordinary may still hold significant collector interest if the details, strike quality, and surfaces remain desirable. Many people misjudge these coins because they focus only on visible damage without understanding how rarity and condition work together in the collector market. Whether the coin is worth a small premium or several $1,000s, it still carries real value that should not be ignored. So before tossing one aside as useless pocket change, take a closer look at the date, mint mark, and overall condition. You might be holding a surprisingly valuable piece of American coin history without even realizing it. Second coin, 1994p Liberty half dollar, and the reason it looks so terrible is exactly why most people would never guess what it's worth. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and that little P mint mark right next to the date on the obverse is your first clue that you're not looking at pocket change. The design itself is classic, based on the walking Liberty half dollars from the early 20th century, but the US Mint brought it back in modern commemoratives, and the 1994 issue has a quiet story that numismatists have been chasing for years. You see that dark, ugly tunning? That's not damage, that's a protective layer of oxidation that forms naturally over time, and in many cases, collectors pay a premium for original surfaces exactly like this. The coin was never meant to circulate, but somehow this one ended up in that tin, rubbing against other coins, turning that sickly brownish-gray color that makes you want to scrub it clean. Don't. That impulse to make it shiny is the single biggest mistake you could ever make. Let me show you what to look for, because the difference between a 50-cent piece and a $4,000 coin is all in the details you're probably overlooking. Flip it to the reverse side, and you'll see an eagle landing on a branch, its wings spread wide, with a design that's incredibly sharp even under that layer of grime. Now look at Liberty's face on the front. Can you still make out her lips and the tiny folds of her gown? Can you see the sun rising behind her with each individual ray still visible? The 1994p half dollar was part of a special issue honoring the World Cup, believe it or not, but most people have no idea that certain strikes from this year were flawless, almost like proof coins that accidentally ended up in regular mint sets. The key is in the luster hiding underneath that ugly tunning. If you tilt the coin under a direct lamp, you might see cartwheel effects, those spinning bands of light that move across the surface. That's how you know the metal hasn't been scratched or cleaned, and if the high points like Liberty's cheek or the eagle's chest still show a satiny, untouched finish, then you've got something special. Here, where the emotion kicks in, because this is the part where people realize what they almost threw away. A 1994p half dollar in average circulated condition might only bring $1 or $2, but that's not the coin you found in your grandmother's tin. If that ugly dark surface is original and the details are all present, you could be looking at a coin that grading services call mint state 63 or 64. In those grades, recent sales have hit $780 without even breaking a sweat. But if the tunning is what collectors call album tunning, that beautiful rainbow-like patina that forms from years inside a cardboard holder, the price jumps to $1,250 almost instantly. And if by some miracle your coin still has its full original mint luster hidden beneath that grime, and the strike is so sharp that you can count the feathers on the eagle's wing, then we're talking about serious money. At MS66, which is rare for this issue, collectors have paid $2,050 without hesitation. But wait, because it gets even deeper than that. The 1994 p half dollar has a secret that almost nobody talks about, and it has to do with a tiny die variation that happened during production at the Philadelphia Mint. On a small number of these coins, the letters in Liberty show a subtle doubling, especially on the first and last letters, and the date has a slight extra thickness that you'd only notice with a magnifying glass. That error, combined with the original surface you've got on that ugly coin, pushes the value into a whole different league. One collector last year paid $3,300 for a raw example that looked exactly like what you're holding right now, and after it was graded MS67 by a professional service, the same coin sold again for $4,600. Think about that for a second. A coin that looks like it spent 30 years buried in a jar of old buttons and bent paper clips is worth more than a used car. And the only reason it's worth that much is because nobody cleaned it. You need to hear this warning loud and clear, because I've seen people ruin $1,000 coins in less than 60 seconds. Do not scrub this coin with baking soda, do not dip it in vinegar, do not rub it with a cloth, and for the love of everything holy, do not take a jewelry polishing rag to it. That black, ugly discoloration is the very thing that proves the coin hasn't been messed with. Collectors call it original skin, and once you remove it you've permanently destroyed the surface, leaving micro scratches that even a beginner can spot. A clean coin loses 90% of its value overnight. That $4,600 coin becomes a $50 coin the moment you try to make it pretty. Instead, put it in a soft cardboard flip or a plastic capsule, touch it only by the edges, and leave every single speck of that grime exactly where it is. The right collector will see beauty in that darkness. So here, where you are now, you've got a coin that feels like a mistake, looks like a disappointment, but carries a secret that only a handful of people would ever recognize. That 1994 p half dollar in your hand isn't just old change, it's a time capsule. A piece of minting history that survived 3 decades in the shadows, untouched and unpolished. The fact that it ended up in that jar in that pantry in your fingers is the kind of luck that most coin hunters dream about. You didn't go looking for it, and yet here it is, ugly and beautiful at the same time. The real value isn't just the $780 or the $4,600, it's the story of how something so easy to dismiss turned out to be the most valuable thing in the room. That's the magic of this hobby, and it's sitting right there in your palm.